And welcome to this episode of the Selling Through Partnering Skills podcast, where I am joined by Tyler Lessard. Tyler is the author of the Visual Sale, which I've just finished reading, and he's the chief video strategist at Vidyard. And I am really pleased he's on because I know personally I've got to up my video game, and I know a lot of salespeople do too. So I think this is going to be a really, really useful episode. Tyler, welcome.
Thank you so much, Fred. It is an absolute pleasure to be here. I am so excited to talk about this topic of video. And as you can appreciate, it's very timely given the state of the market where we are all inside sellers and I think struggling to build relationships at a distance. So it's a really exciting topic right now. It's great to be here.
It is. I mean, timely, yes, but we should have, or we would have probably been having this conversation anyway, do you think?
Well, I do. It's been something that's been bubbling over the last really 3 to 4 years in the world of sales for a number of different reasons. We've seen certainly the expectations and the patience of buyers change a lot over the last number of years as like automation has taken over and response rates to emails and cold calls are just, at an all-time low. There's all these challenges that sellers have started to face for a number of reasons over the last decade. And there's been a lot of interesting experimentation over the last few years with things like social media, with things like chat, and with things like video, where sales teams are trying to figure out these new dynamics for how to engage people in this modern world and stand out from all that other noise. So it's certainly been happening. It's been bubbling, but it got very accelerated in 2020 as we were all thrown into this 100% remote selling world.
Yeah, no, definitely. And again, I kind of just thinking my own journey, I've kind of got my eye on it. But yeah, this is why I thought I need to up my game on it. And when I start looking into it, reading the book, listening to you on other podcasts, I realize there is a lot of stuff in here that many of the people I'm working with are missing the trick if they're not doing it. They really are.
Yeah. Well, it's something that traditionally, if you talk about video, right, we often think about sort of two different contexts for that. One is, oh, well, it's a marketing thing. So, we produce some fancy videos for social media and some advertisements, and the marketing team does that, and they spend $30, $50, $100,000 on those videos. And then, the other traditional perspective is, oh, well, video calls. So yeah, that's fine. I do video. I figured out Zoom. I'm a video person now, right? Well, that's really only the tip of the iceberg. And we're starting to see this world now where everybody, yes, everybody, and I mean that, can and is starting to become a video creator. I mean, in my personal life, Fred, my 13-year-old daughter makes dozens of videos every day on TikTok, right? My 11-year-old son is making iMovie videos with his friends and publishing them to YouTube. It's really interesting. But in the business world, we're starting to see this idea of, hey, I can easily record and share a video message or a screen share and send it over to somebody. And a lot of that is being fueled partly because of the opportunity for it, but partly also because it's become really easy and natural to do with different technologies over the last few years to simply record, share a video, and you're done with it. So it's easier than ever to do these things. And that's a big part of why we're starting to see adoption start to happen in the world of sales.
We definitely like an easy life for salespeople. You know that. But okay, so let's get stuck into this then, because let's have a think about why it works. And in your book, you talk about the 4 E's. So I wonder if you could just share the 4 E's with us, because this will give us a sort of a good solid platform into the how can we use it properly.
Yeah, it's something I think is really important, as like we all appreciate and understand the power of video as a medium from years of watching television and YouTube videos. We get the fact that it can be really engaging with for people, particularly in their personal lives. But when you think about it in a business context, yes, I've come to the 4 E's, which I think are the real superpowers of video that can make it so much more impactful than static text and emails and even static content. And the first is that video by nature is a more educational content medium because of how our brains process information, how we can actually learn from visuals as well as audible cues, body language, all of these kinds of things. So we can learn a lot more from a 1 to 2 minute video by seeing and hearing and following along a story than we can by reading text-based content for 10 or 20 minutes. So it is inherently a more educational content medium. The second is that it has the opportunity to be more engaging than, again, static content. And that's partly due to the ability to add motion, to add intonation and body language, but also our ability to create a more natural storytelling arc by, again, using our voice, using our visual cues, and creating that sort of story moment and infusing it with with potential ideas, inspiration, or laughter. So making it more engaging is really important. The third is it can be more emotional than other forms of content. And I probably don't need to explain that, but again, we all know that video can be that way to make somebody smile, right? There's actually something called mirror neurons in our bodies where when we see somebody else smile, we're more inclined to smile ourselves, right? If you bite into a lemon, I'll actually have some weird taste in my mouth because of this sort of matching that we tend to do. So video gives us that ability to create that emotional connection, to make people laugh, right? To inspire them, to make them scared if we want to. There's lots of ways that you can use video to tap into emotion. And finally, is its ability to display empathy and be empathetic to your audience. And I think video gives you that opportunity to show truly and authentically that you're a real person who's here to help that other individual. And again, we can use things like visuals and body language and intonation and our personalities to demonstrate that we truly understand the challenges you're facing and that we are honestly here to help, not to sell, but to help. So those are the 4 E's of video: educational, engaging, emotional, and empathetic. And if you can tap into those in your content, in your messages to your customers, then it can be an absolute home run for you and you can stand out from everybody else.
And what salesperson would not want to do that? That is what we try to do in every single
Absolutely.
thing that we go about day to day. Would you like to be educational? Oh, yeah, I want to tell my customers stuff. Yeah, do you want to be engaging? Yes, of course. Yeah.
Right.
Emotional. Yeah, a good salesperson understands that emotion drives motion.
Yep.
Yeah. And empathy. We talk about putting ourselves in people's shoes all the time.
Right.
So what you're saying is, well, yeah, that's why video is going to work, because it does these things. You've got it there in front of you and you've got the kit to do that, if you like.
Yeah. Well, many of those are also what make in-person interaction so powerful compared to remote, right? But we're now in a world where, frankly, we can't be there in person very often, if ever, with our prospects and buyers. And even in cases where we can be, there's this growing preference of prospects and buyers to remain virtual, to be more efficient with their time, and to not necessarily have to meet in person frequently or ever in the process. So it kind of comes back to video is your next best thing to being there in person, and that's what allows you to unlock these other things that normally in real life we would be able to create these experiences for people.
Yeah. And I think that's where certainly early days of lockdown, people were saying, oh, well, I can't build relationships online. I can't do stuff like this. Some people are still saying that. Well, they proved themselves right, at least, because they've not tried, I suspect.
Right.
But a lot of people are being very successful because they have tapped into it. They've tried different stuff. They've embraced Zoom calls. They've started using video and realizing, guess what? Those 4 E's are coming to life. I can still do some of these things.
Yeah. Well,
So
and what's interesting is they're starting to figure out how to do it at more scale than they were ever able to in the past as well, right? So, I'm not gonna challenge the fact that if you have an opportunity to meet a customer in person, absolutely take up that opportunity, right? It's a great thing to do, but in this virtual world, we actually have some other opportunities, like we can scale our personality, like never before. We can scale our messaging, we can scale our education if we're smart about how we use things like social media, how we use things like one-to-many communications and even one-to-one. And then of course, things like video, where we can, we can record and capture a video, putting ourselves out there, letting people meet us and hear us and learn from us at a scale that we never could before. And so again, I really think it is a huge opportunity now for people. It's not just about, oh, I need to react to make sure I don't become irrelevant. That's not what it's about, right? It's about adapting to take advantage of the opportunity that sits in front of us, right? And that's what gets me so fired up, because it's not just about, I got to get back to my old numbers. It's like, this is a way to truly accelerate, to reinvigorate, and in many cases to reinvent how it is that you engage customers and crush your quotas.
No, and that's what I found. I can actually speak as somebody who's been through this process, and I sort of opened this almost like Pandora's box. Pandora's box was a bad thing, though, wasn't it? No, so it's not a bad thing. A good Pandora's box, if such a thing. Yeah. Anyway, I've opened the box, and I've just started to see these opportunities, as you say, accelerate, reinvigorate, start doing new things. And yeah, marketing departments are understanding this and saying, oh, maybe we don't have to spend hundreds of thousands of pounds on campaigns.
Right.
But I'm interested in salespeople. So, this is why I want your strategist head very much focused on us in the sales community.
Yes.
Sales people are saying, okay, then, so how do I do this? What should I do? Let's start from scratch. I don't know how to do this. How can I get, how can I start doing stuff at scale and get all of this good stuff you're saying I can get my customers?
Yeah. So let me kick that off by making sure that we're all on the same level playing field of what we mean when we talk about using video in sales. So there's a few different kinds of videos that salespeople are now leveraging to do what we're talking about. And the first is the obvious one that hopefully all of us have figured out by now, which is live video calls to replace those either in-person or phone-based meetings of the past. And assuming that you've at least gotten to that point, then the good news is you figured out how to use that camera in your laptop or on your PC, or you've even upgraded to a nice webcam, which is great. You figured out how to use audio. You're starting to realize, oh, lighting can help and a good background helps. So that's the baseline where most people have started. But as I alluded to, the opportunity goes much beyond that. There are now tools that make it, again, super simple to record a video using your webcam or to record a screen share video, and then to immediately send that over to somebody via email, via social media, or whatever channel you prefer. Some people call that a video email, a video voicemail. Call it what you will. It's a simple idea. I make a video, it could be 30 seconds, it could be 3 minutes, it could be 30 minutes. And I can immediately share that over with somebody via email. And the great thing when you do that is you can add the thumbnail image for the video into the email so it stands out. So they see this image of, oh, there's a video here. And when they click on it, it opens a page to immediately play that video back. So that's a big idea that we're seeing happening out there right now. Yes, at Vidyard, there is a free tool that we make available to do this. There are others as well that you're happy to explore. But again, it's as easy as you can just sign up for a free account at Vidyard and start recording and sending videos. And it plugs right into Chrome, it plugs right into Gmail and Outlook, really, really simple. So that's the important thing to understand is that there are all these opportunities now to say, if I could, instead of just sending a plain old email, if I could send a video that I can record and make, well, how might I start to use that now in the sales process? How might I use it to educate my audiences? How might I use it to engage them in a more interesting story or to answer a question, right? It doesn't have to be anything, too creative or rocket science. It's, hey, if you're answering a question or trying to reconnect with somebody, sending a quick video to just say it rather than typing it out can actually be more impactful for a number of reasons. So that's what we're talking about. And again, we're starting to see a lot more people do this, and they're doing it all throughout the different stages of the sales cycle.
Brilliant. Now, actually, what you said just then, where you are probably doing half of this anyway. We're getting used to talking to cameras, speaking, getting all the background and everything right. Just press record or do it without a live audience and start to use it when people are offline, so to speak. Yeah.
Yep.
In fact, there are some technical words for this that I can't say properly, so I'll leave them to you. Asynchronous.
Say it with me, everybody. Asynchronous.
And synchronous.
That's right. Live or on demand is the way easier way to think about it. And again, to your point, it's like if you record and send a short video to somebody, maybe it's 30 seconds to a minute that is explaining something, answering an idea, showing something on your screen. It's something that, just like a regular email, they can engage with anytime, right? They can watch it, they can share it around with other people. And so it just becomes this new modality that for how we communicate. And it doesn't replace the other things that we do today. It's additive to it. And so now we want to think about, hey, when we've got a live meeting, do we do it in person? Do we do it in video? Or do we just do it over phone? And then we also say, hey, when we want to share information, reach out to somebody, send them a message, update them on something, which is the asynchronous part. Do we want to send them an email, send them a text, link to an article, or send them a video, right? So it just becomes this other way of connecting, delivering the information through those channels we're likely already using. So it's nothing more complicated than that. The real magic happens when you think about, well, how might I actually use this? Not just to say what I would already write, but to actually level up my sales process and change the way I build these relationships.
Brilliant. And I think just before we go into, if we can break down the sales process and see where the video fits in the different stages, the relationship building bit, because the more I've thought about it, and reading in your book why it works so well, could you just cover a little bit of that, a little bit of sort of the psychology behind it, if you like, because it goes deep, doesn't it?
Well, it really does. I mean, there's everything from how our brains process, human faces and the importance of eye contact, all those kinds of things. And that helps us to create a sense of trust, create a sense of camaraderie, right? It goes back, millions of years to our origins as a species, in terms of how, dependent we were on each other, and how important it was, everything from handshakes, all these things that have carried through based on how we're hardwired as people. And so there's all these things that can start to happen as you get more quote unquote face time with your prospects, right? And we know this from the old world of selling in person, right? All these moments where we can see each other, we can laugh together, we can shake hands, we can, participate in a collaborative activity. All of those create this bond, they create this trust, they create this sense of camaraderie that goes such a long way in making them say, yeah, you know what, you're the person I'm going to choose to do business with. So video becomes this new way to do that. And while we can't physically shake hands and so on, the interesting thing, if you start to think about it, is how do I maximize my face time with my clients and prospects when I can't be there in person? Well, a great way to do that is to consistently send them short videos, right? And this is where even sending a short video where you're going to answer a question that you could have probably typed out in an email, but if you can get them to hit that play button and hear you and see you deliver that answer personally, that's FaceTime now, right? So that is 30 seconds, 1 minute, 2-3 minutes more that they're spending getting to know you, hearing your voice, getting to be more familiar with them, as opposed to all those other sales reps who have kind of just become like an email address, right? And so there's that aspect of it, of every second they spend watching you in a video becomes additional FaceTime you get with them. There are all sorts of interesting things that spin out from that, not only the trust factor, but also how memorable you become to them. And this is particularly important in those earlier stages of the sales cycle, where you want to make sure, even if they don't go forward, that you're leaving a very strong impression. And if you've gone through the first 2 months of a process and you've only actually visually seen each other once because you only had one Zoom call, right? You become a lot more easily forgotten. But if they've received 6 or 7 videos from you over that time, where you keep popping up and they keep hearing you and seeing you, you inherently become more memorable to them. So all these little ideas start to come out where you think about, these are micro moments of what used to be, hey, meet up in person, I can now do through a video.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, say to a salesperson, do you want people to trust you? Yeah. Do you want to be memorable?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to be in front of the client as much as possible? Yeah. I mean, it's kind of, it's
Right.
sounding like it's almost too good to be true this time.
Yeah.
I mean,
And you say, do you want to make videos? And you say,
oh, no, I don't
no.
want to do
You
that.
go, well, wait a minute here.
I don't do well. They won't like it. Well, they're humans. And that impactful thing, if I understand it well, the brain struggles to see the difference between what's live and what's video anyway. So the fact that we've been talking, we'll talk for an hour. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
I've been in your presence for an hour, and I'll go back over this. Probably my own action points. Go right. Need to do more of that, Fred. More of that, Fred. More of that, Fred.
Yeah.
That'll be 2 hours. It's 2 hours that I've been with you, so to speak.
Yeah. Well, and you started the relationship by sending me a video introducing yourself, right? And I mean, I'm not just saying this because I'm the video guy and I may have a bias, but honestly, I click play, I watch that video for like 30 to 45 seconds, and I'm like, I feel like I know you, right? It's like all these little things, right? It's just like, the way you communicate, your body language, your smile, your energy. There was all these things where when you and I now hopped on this first actual live call together, right? This is no different from a sales process. I came into this like, oh yeah, I know Fred, right? Like there was no mystery here. And I was like, I know this guy. I can't wait for this conversation. And that was just from watching you in a short video, because all these things came through that wouldn't have in just an email or a social message with like, hey, I'm Fred, I'd really like to do this, da da da. Right. So I think it's a perfect example. Simple, 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 but it makes such a difference.
I had the flip chart behind me, didn't I, with that I heart vidyard on, I think. Was that
that
what
hurt.
the deal?
That didn't hurt. Yeah.
But
Flattery will get you everywhere.
Well, and of course I made sure that was on the thumbnail. So you saw it and went, whoa, okay, this guy, read my book, or he's kind of, he's
right.
getting this. Fine. So yeah, no, it was deliberate. And glad it worked. Otherwise we won't be talking. And so, I mean, you're kind of already sharing this, but I just want to make it really obvious where we can use it, because you're already talking about it. And in a nutshell is you can use video at the beginning and in the middle and at the end of a sales process. if I understand it right, it's like, we've just talked there about sort of kicking off prospecting. So any sort of hints and tips? Let's go through it if we can in kind of order. So prospecting, what are your thoughts? How can we just make sure we're really good at doing that piece?
Yeah, this is probably the most interesting area right now, is using video as part of prospecting. And we're seeing a lot of sellers seeing success with this now. And in large part, it comes back to the fact that when we're prospecting, typically we're going after a quote unquote cold lead, somebody that we may not have a relationship with yet. And it's all about breaking through the noise, getting that attention, earning their time and their trust, and getting that response. And these are all things that a short video or a series of short video can be absolutely brilliant at. And so what we see a lot of sales reps doing is now injecting their prospecting messages with short videos to personally introduce themselves, to create that sense of authenticity and to let them meet you as a real person. To show rather than just tell a little bit, right? A teaser. We're not talking about showing everything, but teasers of how it is that they can actually help you, and proving before you even have that first conversation that they have something of potential value to you. And there's other things that they're doing to use it just kind of as an attention hack, just to get your attention, to create curiosity in the first place. So, for example, I'll give you a sense for a few different ways people are using it. So one is, again, if I'm going after a prospect and I'm sending them an email to try to get their attention, I might record and include a video where instead of just me on camera, I might have a flip chart behind me, as you did. I might be holding up a little whiteboard where I've written a little message on it to say, if I were prospecting you, Fred, I might have a little whiteboard where I say, Fred dash, how are your response rates, right? And I would hold that whiteboard up in front of the camera as I hit record, and that image with that little message becomes the thumbnail image when I send over the video. And the idea there is that they open your email, right? Because you also have a smart subject line. You're like, Fred made you this video, or video for you, Fred, response rates, right? So I hack their attention with a creative subject line, teasing them on, I made you a video, right? So it increases their expectation of value, because nobody's making them videos at work, right? They think this is magic still.
Yeah.
But the expectation of value goes up. So I made you this video, Fred, is my subject line. My intro copy says something along the lines of, I have my nice little intro, reinforcing why I'm reaching out. And then I made you this 52-second video to quickly introduce myself and clearly explain this one really interesting idea. And then you see this thumbnail image with this whiteboard where I've written on it, Fred, how are your response rates? And what happens, go back to the brain and the psychology of it, is within like nanoseconds, you process that image and number one, this is a real person. I actually see a human in this video. Number two, they made this just for me. That's why I put your name on the whiteboard. So you would know without a shadow of a doubt that this genuinely was made for you. Yep. So it is personalized for me. And what happens and builds on that is your expectation of value and relevance goes up, because you now know, because we're conditioned to sniff out the spray and pray emails at this point. right? And so this thumbnail image acts as this validator that I'm a real person. I know who you are. I made this for you. And I'm putting myself out there and putting in the time to show you I'm willing to help. So all of those things happen, which can increase your likelihood of clicking into the message and watching this video. So that's a big part of it. And then as you watch the video, we keep it short in the prospecting phase. 30 to 90 seconds is the window that you want to focus on when you're prospecting, because you're still, again, getting their attention, you're disrupting their day. So you can deliver a quick introduction, you can share a quick story, you can figure out different messaging to use at this point. So that's just sort of one framework that people are using. And I'll give you a second sort of set of ideas to think about, which is instead of just a webcam video. So maybe I've done that. I've sent that to you, Fred. You opened it. You maybe saw the thumbnail. You may or may not have watched the video, but you haven't yet responded. So a little bit later, what I'm going to do is I might send you now another video where instead of with my webcam, I'm now recording a screen share with my face in the corner as well. So again, tools like Vidyard let you do that. So you've got your screen up, but your face is still on the screen as well.
Yeah.
And up on my screen, I might have your website up. I might have your LinkedIn profile. I might have a social media article that you commented on or shared, right? Something that you can visually see and relate to, again, as an attention hack to show you when you look at that video, you go, well, wait a minute, it creates this sense of curiosity and interest. And then you click into it. And maybe if it's your LinkedIn profile up on the screen, I start my video by saying, hey, Fred, it's Tyler at Vidyard here. I noticed that, and then I'll highlight your title and say, you do this at this organization. I actually work with I'm actually working with 3 or 4 other people in this same role to help them solve a problem that seems pretty consistent across their space, which is this. I was curious if you have a similar problem. And if so, I've got a couple of ideas for you. I'm happy to send you another video to walk through idea number 1 to see if it's something that might be of interest or could help, whatever your messaging is, right? So you get the point. But the idea is I'm using something visual up on my screen, again, as an attention hack to get you to lean in, click play. And now I've got an opportunity for you to spend 30 to 90 seconds with me to hear my story.
Love it. And the interesting thing is that you still need the sales skills of understanding what the other person's challenges are like to be, what's going on in the industry, why they should talk to you.
Absolutely.
Just having the whiteboard and sort of waving to somebody, well, that'll get them to click it. But then if it's rubbish within it, well, actually, that's not going any further. So we're not taking away sales skills. We're adding to them, and we're giving that extra tool, if you like, for getting that message across. Because if you've done your homework and you've got something really good to say, people will want to hear it. But they're turning off to so much stuff, aren't they, at the moment?
Yeah, well, and they absolutely are. And it's not only, again, it gives you a chance to deliver that message. And as you said, it builds on everything you're doing today, but it also becomes this one opportunity for you to bring your personality back out there to life, which is likely also a key part of your sales skills, right? A lot of folks are great sellers because, of course, they're great communicators, great relationship builders. And they genuinely like to work with and help people. And it's so hard for that to come through in your email copy, right? When you send an email, it is so difficult for your voice, your intonation, your personality, your authenticity to come through in a written email. But when they can click play and you can actually say it, it's so liberating, frankly, for a lot of salespeople. Some see this as very challenging and they go, I don't know how to talk to the camera. This is really weird. I don't feel comfortable. You got to practice. But other sellers, find this is liberating. Like I don't have to worry about grammar and typing and all. I can hit record and I can actually deliver my message just like I would if I were seeing them in line at an event and they asked me about what I do, or, we got the chance for a quick chat. So I think that's another big part of it is, like you said, it builds on your skills as a seller and allows you to go even further than you have traditionally in the ways that you prospect.
And the way I think about it is that I think a lot of people have missed the meetings because meetings, yes, you can do the interpersonal stuff better. We know we can. But in some ways, it's a signal, isn't it? It's a signal to the customer. I think you're important enough to sit, we drive a lot over here, but we're going to sit in the car for 3 hours over at the States, jump on a plane, spend all day coming to see you for an hour, and that's kind of how key you are. But actually, what we're doing now, if I'm understanding it right, is like I'm going to record something because you're special, because you're worth it, which is going to come across, and I'm going to get that effect. But
Yeah.
without spending however many hours in the car, on the plane, whatever, you're going
Yeah.
to think, whoa, he did that for me. That's really
Yeah.
cool,
Yeah.
but far
Well,
more
and
effectively.
I think it's absolutely right, and I'll share a very specific example from a real world sales rep that I think is just a brilliant example of that idea. It's a gentleman named Matt Hall. He works at a company called Woodway in the UK, and they sell packaging solutions for companies that ship products. They need to package them safely, of course. And so Matt was one of our winners of our annual. We do a video and business and video and sales awards program each year. So I get to see all these great submissions of sellers doing creative things with video. And Matt won the Pitch Perfect prospecting last year, where he shared a video of how he personalizes his outreach with a video to his key accounts. So the video he shared was he was prospecting into the Body Shop. Are you familiar with the Body Shop, Fred? They're like soaps and creams and
shampoo, all that kind
I'm
of
sure
stuff.
you love their bath bombs, right?
I love
Maybe
a
not their
bath bomb, and
shampoos.
luxurious shampoo is really important to me. I
So
know
he
of
was
these things, shall we say?
of these things. So he was prospecting into the Body Shop, and like usual, he would send his emails, leave his voicemails, and hadn't gotten a response. So what he then did was he actually recorded a video of unboxing one of their actual packages. So he took the initiative. He ordered a package from the Body Shop, and then he basically did an unboxing video showing, I wanted to show you, how it is that I can help. So I'll open up the box here, and you can see here, and he takes out all the packaging tissue paper, and then he lines it up, and he says, as you can see here, there's about 7 meters worth of packaging paper. Now, beside it, I've lined up what our solution can offer you. And you can you can immediately see like, oh my goodness, that's like a third of the packaging, right? Like you can see it. It's not just him saying like, we can reduce your packaging by 66%, right? And you're like, yeah, you and everybody else, go away, right? But you see this video and you're like, okay, so yeah, right? Like you immediately understand it. He's proven it to you. And he also, again, during this process, you're like, wow, he's like put in the effort here. He's showing his commitment. He ordered one of our packages. He made us this video to show exactly how we can help and to prove it. And of course, he ends the video. It was a minute and 20 seconds. And he walked through this and showed it. And then he ends the video by saying, if you're interested in learning how it is that we do this, you can book a packaging discussion. And at the end of the video, my calendar will pop up, and would love to book some time. Or if you'd like me to send you another video, explaining a little bit more detail how we do this, I'd be happy to do that as well. Right?
Brilliant.
It was brilliant.
It is absolutely brilliant, because I was talking to somebody the other day about putting Calendly or whatever, whatever those links in to book a discussion, where it's hard. I think it's tough for a sales guy to do that. But if you've earned the right, and it sounds like he absolutely earned the right, and somebody would probably be trying to click on that as fast as possible. Yeah.
I know I watched that. I said, I'm like, I don't even work for the Body Shop, but I want to talk to this guy.
How does this work? Because he's an interesting player. I want to see how he explains other stuff. But let's come back. So what you were saying there, so keeping our sort of sales process moving forward, that could get you into a discussion, which we can then do by video call. Maybe we do actually have a live meeting, phone, again, doesn't matter. But then you also, let's keep on the video track. You talked about if you want another video. So we're sort of moving it forward a little bit. We're getting an advancement. We know sales is about a series of advancements. So we might be sending another one where they're saying, okay, send me something. So now we can go with a little bit more detail, I'm guessing. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. And what I encourage people to think about here is you can be tempted to just now follow up with another email with a link to an existing resource, right? It might be like a white paper or a web page or an off-the-shelf explainer video that shows you something, which those things are okay. But again, going back to this idea of like FaceTime and relationship building, what I would then do is, I would put in the effort to record might be a 2 to 3 minute video where I am personally, walking through. And again, I would personalize it for them. I would say, hey there, Karen at the Body Shop. Thanks so much for following up. I wanted to show you a little bit more about how something like this might work for you. And I would bring up something again on my screen, or maybe there's something physical I could show depending on what I sell. And I would explain it in simple terms. I wouldn't be too long. But again, this would be enough of a teaser to walk them through, this is how we do things, right? So this is the idea, this is the opportunity. And by the way, here's an example of another company I've worked with recently, and this is how they did it, right? So that can be a 2-minute, 3-minute, 4-minute video, whatever it has to be, but it allows you again to, it's just as if you were like an in-person meeting. And so now they're getting this, but what's also super interesting is they may then forward that around to other people. And when those people watch it, not only do they get your information, do they get educated, and it's a super engaging idea, but they get to meet you as a real person, as the account rep at your company. And now all of a sudden, 5 or 6 different people at this prospect have all met you, even though you've never gotten on a live call, and you may never see them on a live call, but they now know who you are. They know what you sound like. They have felt your passion, right? They've gotten to know you. And so that's really interesting idea where you can now seed these short videos to reinforce, to show things. Even if your next step is to do a live demo or a discovery call, these short micro videos can have a huge impact, especially because they can be forwarded around.
That it's like you're reading my notes here. I wrote DMUs down here. We know decision-making units aren't getting smaller.
Yep.
You know, the statistics are showing it's growing. So offering that option, which people also like, because they don't feel as though they're then being forced to do one thing and the other.
Right.
It's like, well, I am going to talk to you, of course I am. Why would I not want to? But actually, I want another video. Why? I want to see how you do it.
Yep.
And I actually want to get my boss involved on this. So if you send me another, I can use that. I can get them on board. Now, when you're in the meeting, you've got far more key players. So I think that's a very, very clever use of sort of advancing. And it's, I want to say slowing down to speed up, but I don't think it's slowing down. I don't think that's doing that process of service. It's accelerating stuff through. It's just saying, here are different steps that I'm just breaking down to these smaller parts. It's all I would say and do in a meeting, but I'm just comfortable enough to drip feed it out in ways which you can actually deal with anyway. Cool.
I think what we're starting to see is we're reducing our dependency on the live meetings in order to communicate information, to objection handle, to build relationships, right? And so we still are going to have that, like, depending on your business, but you're still likely going to have that live discovery call. You're still likely going to have that live, big demonstration. You're probably still going to have that live walkthrough of your sales proposal. But all of these micro moments in between can absolutely accelerate it. Because before you get to that demo call, what if you've been seeding them these, sort of micro videos, walking them through different capabilities, different features, different services, so that they've been progressively learning about you and hearing you explain it, not just watching something off the shelf all the time, but you could do that as well. But by the time you get to that demo call, now the demo call turns into the conversation where you're answering the questions they have, as opposed to you actually spending all that time just pitching and showing, right? And so now that demo call might actually turn into a pricing discussion call because they've seen enough. They want to clarify a couple of things, but now you've got 30 minutes left at the end to actually talk about next steps, pricing, and move things forward. So it can absolutely accelerate it by reducing those dependencies on those live meetings and pushing your deal out 2-3 weeks, just because that's when the calendars happen to align.
Yeah, interesting. And I think that's probably why some salespeople might be a little bit resistant to this, is they're thinking, oh no, it's taking away my skills. I'm
lose
great
control.
When I'm around the table. I do this. I'm the man, But what we're saying is they're probably going to happen anyway. And they're going to happen in a slightly different way. And I was smiling when you were talking about the demo, and it probably doesn't turn into a demo. In that I do a podcast series with a fellow trainer called Don't. And we basically pick up on a load of things that salespeople do. We say, just don't. And one of them is don't present.
Right.
And that sounds counterintuitive, but it's like when someone says, can you come and do me a presentation? They do not mean, I want to sit and listen to your company story, see maps of the world, see logos and everything. They're saying, we're kind of interested and want to discuss about whether this might go ahead. So by seeding it beforehand with those bits of information that's making them think, well, yes, actually we do. We don't need to say anything more from you. We've seen enough. Yeah, let's talk about how we can move this thing forward. We don't need a presentation. No bother. Put slides away.
Well, and one of the other things that we talk about in the visual sale is this idea of also pre-creating a standard set of objection handler videos, of answers to commonly asked questions, so that you can start to proactively seed these into your prospects to, again, get ahead of potential objections and to be more efficient and effective with your time. And you can take this sort of assignment selling mentality where you can say, before the discovery call, before the demo call, whatever it is, you can reach out to your prospect and let them know, hey, before our call, if I would really love for you to watch this this playlist of 3 or 4 different videos. It's only 15 minutes total of your time, and I would appreciate you going through this because it will answer a number of the questions you probably have or are going to have, and it can make sure we focus our time on our call on, again, discussion of other more important things as opposed to stuff you could have just learned on your own time. And these can be, again, very transparent conversations about, again, potential objections or commonly asked questions. Everybody's is going to be a little bit different, but we all know that during the sales process, there's a number of different questions that come up time and time again. 80% of your sales calls, there's these same questions, these same 4 or 5 questions that come up. So make a video ahead of time that answers those clearly. Use visuals to make it more understandable, relatable to the prospects. There are things you could record like one-off, or again, you could make these once, have them in your library, and just use them time and time again with different customers.
Yeah, love it, love it. So we're happily going down the sales process. We've prospected, we've sent these sort of seeding videos, we're having real life conversations. We're mixing it all up. It's this hybrid approach. We're getting to the point where we're making proposals. Yeah, we don't do quotes. People who call my training don't do quotes. We do proposals. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm suspecting that video might be useful at this stage too.
Well, you suspect correctly, Fred. Very useful. And there's 2 different ways that we're seeing people use videos as part of the proposal process. So in addition to live presentations of your proposals or live discussions of your proposals. Sorry, I didn't mean to say the word presentation.
Don't go and rock it with a presentation. You can do it, but it's more around the discussion. That's it.
Yes. So in addition to the live discussion of your proposal, there's a couple of things that you can do. One is you can actually, and I'm seeing more and more sellers do this, is embedding videos inside of the proposal that you share with an organization. There are, some of the more modern sales proposal tools that are out there are enabling people to do that. So instead of just sending over a static document, they are kind of living documents that have related content or links, and they can have embedded videos. And in these cases, these can be things like if there are certain products or services, you can have embedded videos or links to them that explain what that is. So for anybody else who needs to sign off on it, who hasn't necessarily, they're not your champion, maybe they haven't been as close to the process, they can quickly watch that to get a sense for, oh, okay, I get it. I understand what that is and why we're getting it. It could be an embedded video introducing them to the people on your team that are going to be working with them, right? So as they're going through it, it can be a short video that's, hey, it's Tyler here. I'm your main account rep, but I am super excited to introduce to you the rest of the team that's going to be supporting you as we move forward through this process, right? And then it cuts to, the COO, and they're going to talk about how, they're going to support your business. It's the head of finance, and they'll introduce themselves. It's their customer success rep that they'll be working with when, not if, they sign the contract. And so these sorts of things can, again, and it also creates this greater expectation of the experience they're going to have with your company post-sale, because all of these micro moments, now all of a sudden they're meeting all these people. For me, I'm like, this is like, it's such a wonderful experience that I now expect once I'm a customer, they're going to treat me much better than a lot of others would. So you can do that. And there's different types of videos you can include in your proposal. The other thing you can do is if you do have a static proposal is you can record a video using a screen share where you are talking through the high points and articulating, reinforcing the problems that they're trying to solve, the value prop that you're bringing to them, and why it is that you're proposing certain products or services. And you can bring it up on your screen. You can kind of talk through it. You can highlight things. You can, draw, point arrows. And so it's another way to, again, deliver that information and make sure that they can watch it offline and share it around with others. So it doesn't necessarily replace the live discussion around the proposal, but it reinforces and supports it as you send it over, and for it to, again, be forwarded around to other decision makers to ensure they get clarity and understand and feel confident in making that buy decision.
Wow. So, and I was just thinking, if you're going to send a proposal, just put the video in saying I've attached proposal, and in this you will see that I've spec some ways in which you can increase that, save that, gain that, protect that.
Yep.
I mean, that's almost like that's boring for it. That's bare minimum. Why wouldn't you do something so simple? You can make it really spangly. You can really make these things sing.
Yeah.
And do you think at the moment these, I mean, maybe even just that video I just said, but the ones where if you sort of, I can see it, scrolling down proposal and drawing all over it and stuff, that will be shared almost because of the novelty value at the moment still. Are we getting that effect? Yeah,
I think so. Yeah, I think we're still seeing that today, where people are feeling this great sense of appreciation for you, again, putting in the time to do that for them. Because remember, this isn't just about you getting more FaceTime with them and using novelty and tricks to try to hack the system. This is about you being more valuable to them.
Yeah.
Because when they watch that, right, it creates this level of clarity. We all overestimate how much our prospects and customers actually understand about what it is we do, about the processes they're going to go through, all of that, right? Like it's sometimes hard for us to see the forest for the trees because we're in it every day. All of these things are so clear to us. But, when we are trying to educate our prospects and our customers, right, repeating things, reinforcement, all of these things are so important because this isn't their job, right? They don't live in the same worlds as we do as vendors. And so all of these little things, and they can watch a short video where you're explaining it to them again, right? They're not going to say, oh, bugger off, stop with the videos. They're going to say, thank you. This made it so much more clear for me. Yeah. And I really appreciate you putting in the effort to do that, right? That's what it ends up being all about.
No, and I was going to say, so you did flinch a little bit when I said novelty. So I'm looking at the video, I'm reading the stuff, but I was going to say, it's not just that. Exactly as you said, it's easier, it's better, it's more professional. Again, let's go to a salesperson saying, look, I've got a way that you can, your customers will find life easier, you will look better. It's just a more professional way. Do you want to get involved in it? No. Yeah. It just make any sense. You look at, I often draw analogies with sport and what elite sports teams do, because they're always looking for those marginal gains, those little things, that stuff that can help them win. And they will do anything that gives them that slight improvement, won't they? And we're saying this stuff isn't even slight. It's not marginal. It's not just a little increment. It can make a massive difference. Make a massive difference. So cool. So proposal. So we've got prospecting. We've done sort of middle. We've got proposal. What else might we need to do? Just what we need to be aware of?
I mean, from this point, you start to think about if it really is as easy as Tyler claims it is to be able to record and send a quick video via email, and you'll have to try it out for yourself to see. But it starts to become this thing where you go, oh, okay, so now they've signed the deal, and I'm going to hand them off to a account rep, account manager, customer success manager. Well, instead of just sending the email and copying them, right? What are you going to do? Well, wouldn't it be nice if they got a video with that person introducing themselves? Hey there, it's Ellie, and I'm going to be your customer success manager. I've been here for 3 years. I love this. I work with these other companies. Can't wait to support you and work with you, right? So then there just become these moments for, onboarding. There's all these things where just, again, these more personal, casual videos create that kind of bond, from account management, customer success, and make sure that a year later, when it comes time, if you're an annual subscription-based company, when it comes time to renew, you feel, again, like you're respected, that you are a part of the family, your reps there. It makes it a lot easier to say yes. So, you just start to get into all these moments where, hey, if I can record and share a video to stay top of mind, all these things we talked about, it makes just as much sense in the post-sale process.
Yeah. And of course, asking them to give you a testimonial on video.
Yeah, sure.
So you could use that in other videos for other potential new customers, because they'll want to see people like themselves who have, who benefited. Wow. Well,
so many things, Fred.
there are loads of things. I kind of got an eye on the clock, but it's just I didn't want to stop, and I know there's more. That's the thing. I know there's more, but we probably just need to make it simple for people, and it is simple. It is simple. I've used Vidyard. That's why I reached out to you. If I can use it, anyone can use it. There's the massive, seal of approval from me. But how can people? You mentioned it. The people can just sign up. They can start to use it straight away as soon as they finish listening to this. How does that work?
Yeah, you can just go to vidyard.com, vidyard.com, and you'll see the nice big, get started, sign up for free button on the site. And you can, again, literally, you just create an account and it fires it up for you. It's unlimited usage. You can record and send as many videos as you'd like. You'll get notifications as well to let you know when somebody watches your videos. And so you can know the right time to strike. And it's a really simple way to get going. So nothing more complex than that. I encourage you to try it out. You can use it as a Chrome extension, a Microsoft Edge extension. There's a desktop app, a mobile app. So, pick your favorite way to use it and just give it a try, and maybe send myself or Fred a video and let us know what you think. I think that would be great.
Please do. No, I'd love to. I'd absolutely love to receive videos from people, or I know you would too. So that's fantastic. We will pop a link in the notes as well.
Perfect.
So one more question for you then. We're not going to use video. You and I, when we're allowed, we're going to get on a plane and we're going to go somewhere to do some good. We want to go and help out. We're going to get our hands dirty. We'll actually have to go do real life stuff now. So my question is, where are we going to fly to do good? Are we going to go to Africa? Are we going to Asia? Or are we going to Latin America? And why?
I think we're going to go to Latin America, actually, Fred. I think it's a region that, it's a hard one, right? Like all of them, there is so much opportunity, for such a significant population of people that that are underserved and undersupported in so many different ways. I do think in Latin America there are just so many opportunities. I think it's often overlooked at the potential of the population there. And again, not to dismiss the importance of the others, but I do think it's a region where there's just so many opportunities from both sort of personal wellness through into the business world, and the opportunities for people to create economies and to create opportunities that will truly be self-sustaining for a long time to come. So I'd love to see if we can help out there.
Brilliant. Well, we can, because the reason I asked the question is that I believe in business as a force for good, or business for good, and so I'm a member of B1G1, which is about buy one give one,
Right.
which is a giving platform which is aligned to the UN Sustainable Development Goals. I align with number 4, which is education, as you can imagine. And so what I like to do to say thank you to people who've given up their time and spoke to me on the podcast is to make a donation to one of the charities that they've got there. So it just helps me choose. I've got sort of 3 lined up ready to go, 1 in each area. And so to say thank you, we're going to donate to women's training in Guatemala, women's business training in Guatemala.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Fred. I appreciate that. And I'm happy to spend another hour at another time to see if we can keep making some good happen. So that's wonderful. Thank you.
I will hold you to that, because I think we're just scratching the surface. I mean, just scratching the surface busy. I mean, from the point of doing good, there's loads we can do. But no, it's my way of saying thanks. So
great.
Massively appreciate your time, Tyler. It's really kind of you.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. And thank you all for listening and watching out there. If you want to, learn more from myself, just connect with me on LinkedIn, Tyler Lessard, Vidyard. You'll find me out there. Send me a message. I would love to meet you. And like I said, feel free to send me a video. And otherwise, all the best. And hopefully video can help you crush your quota in the year ahead.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. Really good.